Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our today's webinar titled Win Hearts and Minds the Easy Way, hosted by Ethica Insurance Broking. I am Ekta Shah, your host of the session, and I'm thrilled to see so many of you joining from around the globe. So, today we are diving into a session that promised to equip you with invaluable skills to navigate both your professional and personal lives with finesse. So, we will learn how to manage our emotional responses, enhance our controversial superpowers, and meditate conflicts like true professional. But before we dive into, let me introduce you to our esteemed coach for today. So, we are honored to have with us Anamika Yaduvanshi, a visionary life coach known for her transformative insights and motivational strategies. With the years of expertise, Anamika has guided countless individuals towards a self realization and a peak performance. Her approach combines practical wisdom with profound understanding, making her a beacon of inspiration for all who seeks to elevate their lives and careers. Please join me in welcoming Anamika.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, Ekta, for such a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. I'm also honored that I'm here and I got this opportunity to talk on this wonderful subject that is so much of, I love this subject a lot, emotional intelligence. Emotions. So emotions are basically what? Emotions are energy in motion. They're always in motions, and we do a lot of things that, driven by our emotions. And a lot of companies, they play with our emotions. That's how they plan their ads and everything. So emotions are really important. We can't ignore emotions. We can't say that, okay, emotions, we can just put it on the carpet. No, emotions are as important as our brain is. In fact, at times, emotions are more important than our brain because emotions lead us to do multiple things which we kind of regret later or which we don't want to do, but we somehow do it. So if there's any way that we could get hold of these emotions, that would be wonderful. उसी के बारे में आज मैं बात करने के लिए आप लोगों से आई हूँ। कैसे आप इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट हो सकते हैं। आज की वर्कशॉप में हम बात करेंगे इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस एक्चुअली होती क्या है, हम कैसे इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस को बढ़ा सकते हैं, किस तरीके से हम मेक आउट करें कि लोगों का ईक्यू लेवल, लोगों का इमोशनल कोशेंट कहाँ है, हमारा खुद का इमोशनल कोशेंट कहाँ है। इसके लिए मैं आज आपके साथ एक असेसमेंट शेयर करूंगी जिसमें आप खुद मेक आउट कर सकते हैं कि आपका क्या स्कोर है। सो वेयर डू यू स्टैंड ऑन द ईक्यू स्कोर एंड क्या क्या चीजें आपको अपने ऊपर इंप्रूव करने की जरूरत है। देन मैं आपको कुछ टूल्स दूंगी जिससे कि आप बड़ी सिंपली आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं दैट दीज आर द एरियाज व्हिच आर मेकिंग अस लेस इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट। सो उससे क्या होगा कि आपको क्लियर रोड मैप मिल जाएगा। ये तरीके हैं, इस तरीके से हम अपने इमोशंस को जो है चेक कर सकते हैं, इस तरीके से हम उनको एनालाइज कर सकते हैं, इस तरीके से हम अपना रिस्पॉन्स जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा माइंडफुली प्लान कर सकते हैं। तो मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ, बहुत कुछ होने वाला है आज की वर्कशॉप में। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट टुडेज सेशन। I think most of us are here English speaking, so I will keep the language here, the medium English only. All right, brilliant. So come on, let's start with our presentation, Emotional Intelligence, Winning Heart and Mind the Easy Way. So before I do that, let's just ask ourselves that how important is it to understand emotions? Because what happens is that most of the times we give a lot of importance to our thoughts, that whatever I'm thinking is important. My thoughts are important. My opinion matters. But do my emotion matter? Most of us think that, we need to keep our emotions under the carpet. How many of you think it is important to understand emotions? If you think yes, just type yes in the chat window. If you think it's not important to understand emotions, just type no in the chat window. Let's see how emotions are driving us. All right. So now the thing is that what are the benefits of EQ? If we understand emotional intelligence and we build our EQ, so how important it is in our personal life. Number one, that it helps us in our relationships. So, number one benefit that we get is improved relationships. So, if we understand emotions, our relationships get improved. That's, the simplest, that it's easy, there's no rocket science there. And the second benefit that we get is better self awareness. I know I am feeling angry, I know I am feeling sad, I know I'm feeling very envy of someone. So if I am aware about my emotions, I can understand myself well, then I can plan my response rather than being impulsive, rather than reacting to certain situations. I can plan my response. If I have high EQ, then I become more and more self aware. Then is enhanced communication. It's like, I know that this is my emotion, so I'll alter my communication accordingly, so that the other person should not benefit out of what I'm feeling. Like, suppose if I'm feeling sad, I'm not very happy, and if I'm talking to somebody and if I let anyone else know that I'm unhappy or I'm sad or I'm judging them or I'm jealous of them, then they might not like us, they might take advantage of that. But if I have high EQ, I'm able to plan my communication accordingly. I'm able to negotiate. I have more clarity. I'm able to take feedback properly and everything. So my communication is enhanced if I have high EQ. Then is that, uh, my stress management is better. I'm able to handle my stress better. If I have high EQ, I'm able to manage my stress better. Otherwise, what happens is that in the morning we start from our house. In fact, even before we leave our house, stress starts because we're generally running late for our office, our work, and then sometimes we are angry at our house help or our spouse or our children or at our own self, and we drive in a very rash manner because we are under so much of stress. We don't know how to manage this stress. We react to stress and we surrender to it, and we sometimes we shout, we yell, we misbehave, we use foul language, and all sort of these things. We hurt a lot of people, we lose relationships. Why? Because we don't know how to handle our emotions. So if we have high EQ, then we'll be able to do better stress management. Then is, if we have high EQ in our personal life, we'll have increased happiness and well-being because I'm able to manage my emotions. I don't stay in that high anger zone for very long. I don't stay in that high sadness zone for very long. I don't stay in that judgment zone for very long, and I'm able to take care of myself pretty well. So that's the benefit of having high EQ in personal life. And I think all these benefits are to die for. We all crave for that wonderful relationship at our home. And we all crave for being more aware that we should know what we are doing, what we are thinking. Why do I want this? Why am I behaving in a particular manner? We all want to communicate effectively. We all want to manage our stress because stress has become the part of our lives, and it will stay as long as we are alive. Stress is going to be there with us. If we get a trick, a method to manage the stress, I think that is going to do wonders for us, and happiness and well-being we all want. So these are the benefits of having high EQ in our personal life. Now let's talk about professional life, because I believe professional life is equally important. All of us are ambitious. We want to succeed in life, we want to move ahead, we want to excel in our careers along with our personal life. So how if EQ could help us in our professional lives? What benefit could it provide us? It will give us enhanced leadership skills. It makes us good leaders. How? Because if we are high in our EQ, we know how to take our team forward. We know how to address our team. We know how to be empathetic. We know who wants what, how to build team. We know how to motivate team. So that becomes very important, because if we have high EQ and improved teamwork and collaboration, like I was just talking about team, a leader is leading the team. So if a leader is an effective leader, then teamwork gets improved and you are able to collaborate better. Because in today's age, you can't run a solo show. You have to have the support of your team, and we can have the support of our team if we are a good leader. And how can we become a good leader? If we understand our team team well. And how do we understand the team well? If we understand their emotions and our emotions well. If I have a target as a leader that I need to make this much of sales, or I need to finish this presentation, or I need to do this task, then I will have to put my team on it. And if my team is not motivated as I am, then I will not get the task done. So that becomes extremely important to understand the emotions of my team, what motivates them, how can I motivate them to do that extra work, to put that extra hard work, to put that extra effort so that I get the results. Then is better communication. Like I said, with EQ, you are able to communicate better. You're able to convey your feelings better, because what happens is that our communication at times is so plain, is so simple, is so wild sometimes, that we want to say something else, but we end up saying something else, and the result, the consequence is again a disaster. So having better communication is important, and having high EQ helps us becoming a better communicator. It also helps in increasing productivity and performance. Or of course, if a teamwork is good, if my team is performing good, then as a result, my performance, the team's performance, the company's performance will definitely increase. The productivity will get increased, because we are working as one team. We are able to communicate better. We negotiate better. We talk better. We gel better. So as a result, productivity is going to increase. And then we get customer satisfaction. That's what we want. At the end of the day, we want sales. And if we are making a sale, we want our clients, our customers to be satisfied. And if we are having high EQ, we are able to work on customer satisfaction and career advancement. Career advancements, I mean that, because you are meeting all the targets, because you are becoming a good leader, because you are putting up a good reputation in the team, you're putting up good task at work, because you're able to control your emotions, manage your emotions and others' emotions as well. So your career will see an up graph. And then is innovation and creativity. So once we are able to understand what drives us, what emotions drive us. Is it like that, that hunger? What is it that, make me do what I want to do? Because all of us know what we should be doing. All of us have a to-do list. All of us have a goals, desires, dreams, and everything. But we don't do it. We don't take action because we don't know what emotion will help us do that particular task. So if we are able to control our emotions, manage our emotions, then we become highly innovative, we become highly creative, and the result is our career graph goes like this. So these are the benefits of EQ in our personal and professional lives. And then let's know more. It's a small MCQ. I want you to attempt this. What do you think, as per you, is the best definition of emotional management? You can write your answers in the chat window. What do you think is the best definition of emotional management? Ability? Is it A, B, C, or D? So you have written, some people are writing B. I want you to write your responses for A for first. What is the answer? For second, what is the answer? Which of the following is not the component of emotional intelligence? Okay, first is B, all right. First is B, 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 right, right. And what's the second? Which of the following is not the component of emotional intelligence? Second is C. Brilliant. Second is C. C. All right. Okay. Okay. So first is B. Second is C. So first is, what is the best definition of emotional management? B. That's correct. Second, which of the following is not the component of emotional intelligence? That is C. Emotional suppression. Because we don't have to suppress the emotion. We have to address the emotion. That is very important. So that's right answer. Kudos to all of you. Great going. So the next question is, how does emotional intelligence benefit professional life? How does it benefit? How do you think it benefits us in a professional life? Okay, B, B, B. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Wow, wow, wow. All of you have very high EQ. Yes, awesome. All right, all right. That's correct. So the first is B, second is C, third is B. Awesome. Great answers. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Big round of applause for all of you. Great, 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 great. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So moving on to the next. Now let's see, what is emotional intelligence? What's the definition? What does it say? It is the ability to identify. First thing, just catch the word identify. We need to identify what are our emotions. We need to label them. Am I feeling sad or am I feeling envious of someone? Am I feeling lonely or am I unhappy? So I need to put the right label. What is it I am feeling? Identify. That's the first thing. Then once I identify, then I have to manage it. I have to manage that. What do I do with this emotion? Should I stay like this or should I do something so that I'm able to replace this emotion with a better emotion? And this you have to do about yourself and for others as well. Like, we were talking about team and for personal life. If you will not understand the emotions of your spouse, your parents, your children, so then it is like a solo journey. But that's not the thing that we want. We all want that, we should have a family, that we are moving together, we are progressing together, and our team should also progress together. So I have to identify and manage my emotions, and then I also have to identify and balance the emotion, manage the emotions of others. Then only I become emotionally intelligent. Now you would say that, Anamika, how is it possible? How can I, understand anybody else's emotions, and what do I have to do with it? We have to do with it. It's like, you're dealing with your child, and child has done something which you don't like, and you're really upset with your child, and you're yelling at your child, and the child is again further becoming more, is resisting your behavior and resisting change. It's the child is not listening to you. So you can make the child listen to you. Once you understand what is the emotion that the child is going through, is the child fearful, is the child feeling angry, is the child feeling anything, any emotion that that is making him behave the way he is behaving, is the child insecure about something. So once you understand the emotion, you will behave according to that emotion, so that you're able to change that emotion, and that way you will be able to get a win-win. The child would be happy because his emotions are understood and taken care of. You would be happy because you got the result that you were looking for, because you got the master key, that is understanding emotions and then managing it. And very important point here is, we have to note down, being emotional is not equal to emotionally intelligent. A lot of people say, oh, I'm very emotional, I'm very emotional, and they take a lot of pride in it, that I am emotional. No, 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 please. If you are emotional, that means your emotions are driving you. If you are emotionally intelligent, that means you are driving your emotions. So it's very important to be emotionally intelligent, not emotional. So I hope you got the basic difference there. All right. Next slide. So here is again a small MCQ that will make you understand the difference between being emotional and being emotionally intelligent. So which of the following best describes the difference between being emotional and being emotionally intelligent? If you could write your answers in the chat window, let me see. Okay, B. Yes, it's B. Yes, it's B. Next question, Ekta. Thank you so much. Kudos, kudos, kudos. Great. So next question is, how does emotional intelligence differ from simply being emotional in handling stress? A lot of people, all of us face stress. So what do you think? How does emotional intelligence differ from simply being emotional in handling stress? What do you think is the answer to this one? All right. A, yes. Yes, yes. All of you guys are highly emotionally intelligent. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. The answer is yes. A, yes, right. Okay. So the conclusion, let's come to the conclusion. Emotional intelligence helps individuals manage their stress. How? Through awareness and healthy coping strategies. Whereas emotional being emotional can lead to impulsive reactions that may increase stress levels. Yes, we are having stress and we react out of our impulse, and then our stress levels increase further. I'm getting late. I'm yelling at my help. She's saying, okay, I'm not gonna come from tomorrow. I'm getting further more stressed. Then my child, he's getting late, and I'm saying, why you late? You should have, left an hour ago, 15 minutes ago. And then the child is getting angry. Are you did not wake me up. You did not serve me breakfast. Then, the stress levels are again further increasing. So if you do not handle stress well, you are reacting in an impulsive manner, then the situation becomes much worse, and at the end of the day we feel depressed, sad, frustrated, disappointed with ourselves that we did not do what we should have done. And we can improve that by being more mindful, by being more aware of our emotions, by improving our emotional intelligence. So this was it. And the next is, in our work, what happens is that we think that because here we are talking about emotions in a professional as well as a personal setup, but a lot of people, they think that emotions should be addressed only at home. At work, what is the job of emotions? You should not be think about emotions at work. No, it is extremely important. In fact, perfect combination of IQ plus EQ is equals to success. IQ is a technical skill that you have in your particular field. Maybe if your field is coding, if your field is marketing, if your field is HR, whatever your field is, if you have the technical skill, know how of that subject, and with EQ, you will be able to manage your team. You will be able to present yourself well in term in with your superiors. You will be able to understand others' emotions. You will be able to control and manage others' emotions. So that will make you successful, because at the end of the day, we are doing business with people. We are working with people. As of now, we have not started working with robots. So when we are working with people, people are driven by emotions, and when we are able to understand others' emotions along with our EQ, then we become successful. Just like all these companies, when they have to come sell shampoos, when they have to come and sell their products, they come and play with their emotions. Arey, yes, soap, you put this and you'll become so fair, and you'll get married, or people will like you, and your age won't show, or whatever. All those things, they play with the emotion that we want. We want to be accepted, loved, and we want to feel happy. So they put those emotions in the person who's using that particular product, and that's how people buy that particular product. So emotions are very important along with EQ and with IQ. That makes us a complete successful person. Next is, I'll tell you a story of Aditi. So Aditi is an extremely impulsive person, but she's has very high IQ. She's extremely successful in her work, and one day she was going to the mall. She had to meet a friend in a cafe. So her friend got late, and she was waiting for her friend, and she thought, what will I do waiting here? Let me just go outside and shop. So she went outside and she did some shopping. She did not want to buy that stuff, but she bought it. She bought few expensive scarves, thinking, if I'll buy this scarf and if I'll wear this scarf in the particular presentation, then everybody will look at me, and I will look like as if the best person, the most beautiful person, the most sophisticated person, and I'll get more points, and the team will like me, the boss will like me. So she bought particular expensive scarves which she had no intention to buy, but because she was an impulsive person, because she did not know how to handle her emotions, she thought that if she has to get accepted, then she has to wear particular brands, she has to dress up in a particular expensive manner, she has to wear expensive clothes to be accepted and liked by the society. So out of her impulse, she bought what she had no intention to buy. And when she bought it, later she was regretting, Arey, why did I buy this? Oh my God, these are so expensive, and there's a hole in my pocket now. She regretted that later. That was the first thing that she did out of impulse. Second thing that she did was, when she was sitting with a friend and sipping a coffee, then one of her friend called, Arey, we are going to, this weekend thing, and we are going to this nearby resort. It's wonderful, and we'll stay, we'll have fun, and we'll come back to work on Monday, and you'll be rejuvenated. Okay, let's go, and would you like to come with us? She said, yeah, yeah, why not, I would love to. And that getaway was again expensive. She had no plans to do that. She just had spent a lot of money on those cars which she did not require. And then she said yes, because why she said yes? For two reasons. In front of her other friend, she wanted to sound that she's very busy, and there are proposals coming to her, there are invitations coming to her, and she has a lot of friends. So she said yes in front of her and in front of that friend of hers, because she wanted to sound important. Second, she thought that if she will not say to that particular friend who's inviting, she will think that maybe she can't afford, that's why she's not coming. So that's why also she could not control her impulse, and she said yes. but she regretted later because she had said yes to another friend of hers who was shifting her house during that weekend, and she had asked for Aditi's help, but she could not understand, she could not prioritize, she acted out of impulse, she could not use the magic word no. People who are very low in EQ, they don't use no, they don't know how to set boundaries. She could not say no. They say yes to everybody, and at the end of the day, they feel frustrated and disappointed that they did not know how to set boundaries, how to use the magic word no. So this is what Aditi did, although she was an extremely highly intelligent person. So this is what she did in her personal life. And then what she did in her professional life, she had a meeting with a client. To her client, because she used to think that she's intelligent, which she was, she suggested a marketing strategy. On the spot, she thought of one. She presented one to the client. The client accepted. And when that marketing strategy was applied, it backfired. The strategy backfired. And when the strategy backfired, the client withdrew the business. So what happened? It was the loss of the client. Now, here again, because she acted out of impulse, she did not consult the team before this discussing the strategy. If the strategy was not there, she could not accept her fault. She could not handle her emotion. That it is okay sometimes to make mistakes. It is okay sometimes to not have done your work and accept that, and be very honest with it. She could not handle those emotions, and what she landed was client loss. Now this is a real case, and this girl Aditi, I just changed the name, and she came to me because she saw one of my video on Instagram, and she just came to me that, Anamika, I get very anxious, and I'm a very impulsive person, and I shop a lot, and I don't know how to say no, and I say yes to everybody because I don't want to hurt others, because I feel that if I say no, then others will get hurt, and I say yes to them, and at the end of the day, I suffer, I get hurt, and I am not able to take care of myself. To her, I know, then we did a lot of work on her, and I made her work on her self awareness, and with that work, she was able to control her emotions, manage them well, and reflect the new changed behavior in her communication, in the whatever she was doing. So she was a completely transformed person, but it took a lot of efforts, lot of exercises, and lot of investment of time that she had to put through getting uncomfortable. But she was aware, so we help her become a better version of ourselves. So this was the story of Aditi, real life study that I wanted to present here. So next, move on to the next slide. So this is important. That was Aditi. This is you all. Now you would say, Nanamika, how do we know? Where do we stand? Are we emotionally intelligent, or if we are, what's our level? So let's check that. So I have made a small quiz that you can take, and that will tell you how emotionally intelligent you are. So I'll just put that link here in the chat window. You can just press that, and you can okay, I'll just press that link here. Just so link is in the chat window. I want all of you to just go open this form and submit your responses. It's a wonderful quiz, and it'll give you a lot of insights about your emotional intelligence.
I hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think it's visible to everybody else. So done. Okay. Sonia has done. Wow. Thank you, Sonia. I am surprised by my own answers. Yes, that's what awareness is, that's what insights are. That's amazing. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. So those of you who are not able to open that link because of some security reason, you can just see the screen, read the question, and write question 1, 2. What's your answer? A, B, C, D, whatever it is. Question 3, what's the answer? A, B, C, just write down A, B, or C. That's it. Because I'll give you scores as per A, B, C, or D. Okay, so you all can write it down. I'm just declaring the scores now. So for the first question, if your answer is B, you get 1 point. You can write it down. Just take a sheet of paper like this. Just right? Question one, B is one score, C is two score, like that, so that you can total it that how many you scored. So for the first question, if your answer is B, it's one. If it's C, two, right? For the first question, B is one, C is two. Second question, B is one, C is two. For the third question, B is one, C is two. Again, for the fourth one also, B is one, C is two. For the fourth question, B is one, C is two. For the fifth question, C is 2, D is 1. For the fifth question, C is 2, D is 1. For the sixth question, B is 1, C is 2. For the seventh question, B is 1, C is 2. For the eighth question, B is 1, C is 2. For the ninth question, B is 1, C is 2. For the 10th question, again, B is 1, C is 2. Now you do the total. Now, if your total is anywhere between 16 to 20. 20 was the maximum that you could score here. You cannot score more than 20. So if your score is anywhere between 16 to 20, let me tell you, you're a highly emotionally intelligent person. You demonstrate strong self awareness, empathy, and the ability to manage your emotions and others. You handle feedback constructively and you understand social cues and maintain positive relationships. That's if you have score between 16 to 20. If your score is anywhere between 10 to 15, you have moderate emotional intelligence. You show some self awareness and emotional management skills, but struggle in certain areas, and you need to focus more and become more self aware about your emotions. If your point is anywhere between 5 to 9, then you have low emotional intelligence and you really need to work on it, improve on it so that your personal and professional life can flourish. And you have 0 to 4, then my dear, you really need to work on your EQ. And I will post this score sheet also here so that all of you who were not able to answer or open or any kind of glitch was happening, you can access to it later. I'll just put the score sheet also here. So you can just copy paste the score sheet also. All right. So now let's move on to the next thing, that is vision killing behaviors that we do on a regular basis or others do, and we are not able to make out whether that person, is hampering his emotional intelligence. So those are vision killing behaviors. Just keep pressing the next button. First is treating people badly, such as not showing people they care, forgetting to say thank you. We often forget to say thank you. We often forget to appreciate people. We often forget to compliment people. We feel, "Arey yaar, what happened with that person, that my compliment might not be that important to the other person, but believe me, it is. It may make the other person feel so good. You never know what battle that person is fighting. So it's always important to appreciate them, acknowledge their anything nice if they have, and saying thank you. So that's again vision killing behavior. Then is living by the adage, do as I say, not as I do. We tell our children to do so and so things, but we don't lead by example. So if you do that, that means you are, you are spoiling your EQ, you are reducing your EQ. So you should always walk the talk. If you do that, then you are empathetic. Then you understand if you're telling others to do it, you are also doing it. If you're a leader, if you are following particular rules, you are telling your team also to follow it because you are doing so. So that is there. And then focusing on too many things at once. We all sometimes, take a lot of pride in saying that we are multitaskers. I was doing this besides with this and all those things. Believe me, that's not a good thing. That means you don't value one particular thing and you're doing multiple things at one point of time. That means you're not able to understand and handle your right emotions at the right time. Like you have the need to feed yourself. If you're hungry but you're watching TV, you're talking to somebody, that means you're not addressing one need at that particular hour. That's important. Pushing too hard on the task and forgetting people. At times we do this, when we have targets, when we have certain goals which we want to achieve as a team, as a family, we focus a lot that, this needs to be done, da. And we forget that maybe the other person is not well, maybe the other person, we focus only at tasks, only at targets, only at goals. That means we are becoming robots. We just want our work and we don't care for people. So this behavior we need to stop, because this makes us less emotionally intelligent. Then is not giving clear direction. At times what we do is that, we are telling someone, do this, do this, do this, but we are not giving them in a very clear format that this is how this needs to be done by this much time. I need these tasks. So if our instructions are not clear, then that means we are not able to follow our brain well. We're not able to handle our emotions well. Giving inconsistent direction, not taking responsibility for failure. When we are working as a team and when we are together as a families, if something goes wrong, if you are the first to blame others, that okay, this thing happened because of this person, this thing happened because of this person, this thing because of you, this thing because of that, that means you don't accept your own flaws. You don't accept where you went wrong, what you are doing wrong. So that means you don't acknowledge that even you can make mistakes. You don't acknowledge that it is okay to accept mistakes, and I won't be embarrassed by mistakes. In fact, I can take pride in accepting my mistakes in public. And then again, another behavior that makes us less emotional intelligence is showing little or no personal commitment to the vision. If there is one particular goal that all of you are working on, and you focus on yourself, me this, me that, do I am this, I am that. So that is, again, you're not focusing on the common vision, on the common goal. That again, this is a behavior that makes you less emotionally intelligent. And at times we have people in a team who are not able to perform for whatever reason. Maybe they are having some family challenges, maybe they are having some health challenges, maybe they have some other sort of challenge. And people who don't perform, we just shut them out, we just throw them out, we just don't acknowledge them, we just don't acknowledge their past good performances. And if they're not able to perform now, we just throw them out. So that again shows that you're not practicing high EQ. Okay, so if I work on this EQ, if I work on my emotional intelligence, how does, how do I know I'm doing it right? How do I get to know I have all these behaviors? How will it reflect in my life? So number one, first method that will show up that you are able to handle your emotions well or not is, first is, how will it reflect? It will reflect in the quality of your relationships. If you are able to manage and handle your relationships well, if your spouse is happy with you, if your children are happy with you, if you're able to treat them well, if you're able to give them respect, love, attention that they crave for, that means you are able to balance your emotions, you are able to manage your emotions. First check that you know that you're doing it right in your life is the quality of your relationships. Second check that you get is, how do you manage stress in your daily life? Stress is the part and parcel of our life. We will meet this gentleman called stress every day, multiple times. But how do we deal with it? Do we respond to it? Do we react to it? Do we surrender to it? That will decide if we have high EQ or we have low EQ. Next is, how well do you talk to others? That's extremely important. What happens is that, we are talking and we are not listening, we are not responding, we are just talking for the sake of talking, and we don't understand others emotions. At times there are certain things that we should not be conveying to others. There are certain things that should be we should be very mindful of saying, and we should check what we are saying. If we are able to present our talk well, if we are able to present our ideas well, that means you are doing it right in your life. You are able to handle your emotions well. And next is, how good and sorted you are at your job. At times, so many of us, we get Monday blues. We don't want to go on Monday. Why? Because maybe we don't love our work enough. Maybe we wanted to do something else, but we're doing something else out of pressure, out of, whatever the needs we have, whatever requirements we have, whatever societal pressures we have got. So if we are not able to love our work, if we are not sorted at our work, if we crib about our work most of the times, that means we are going low on our emotions. Because believe me or not, all these 4 points are very important. The quality of our relationships. most of the time our pain is our relationship. Our children are not nice, or they're not listening to us, we are not able to get along well with our spouse, or we are not able to get along well with our boss, with our colleagues, with our team members. So these relationships, because man is a social animal, the key to handle this relationship is emotions. Handle your emotions, handle their emotions, address their emotional needs, address your emotional needs. If your emotional need is to be accepted, you want to feel accepted, then what you need to do is accept others. If you don't accept others the way they are, then they will also not accept you the way you are. And then at the end of the day, you will be frustrated, disappointed. And no matter how much financial success, professional success you achieve, no matter how much good health you are having, no matter whatever you are having, you will not be able to enjoy it, because we tend to celebrate our happiness, our peace, our joy with our family members. So that's extremely important. Working on these four pointers: relationships, stress, and the way we're talking to others, and how are we, how sorted we are at our job. If all these four things are taken care of, then believe me, you are doing good and your emotions are very well managed. If not, then check these things and work on these four areas together so that your emotions are managed. Okay, next is, how does it affect my mental health? My mental health is extremely important, just like my physical health. We do a lot of things for our physical health, but how much do we do for our mental health? That is important. Are we taking care of our mental health? How do we take care of our mental health? By taking care of our emotions. Because if I don't address my low emotions, if I don't address my anger, I always suppress my anger, my mental health will deteriorate, and then it will reflect on my physical health in the form of diabetes, in the form of blood pressure. So it's very important to address to my mental health, and to address to my mental health, I need to address my negative emotions. That's extremely important. How? By small, small steps in your daily life. Those small steps are: first step is being able to accept criticism and take responsibility. If somebody criticizes us, you did not do this job well, and we immediately bounce, we tell that person, oh, you don't know about my job, and we respond in a negative manner sometimes. Perhaps you are correct, perhaps the other person is correct, and perhaps partially both of you are correct. Anything, there could be any possibility. So, if we are able to handle our criticism well, and if we take the responsibilities for our mistakes, that means we have addressed one emotion right. What was that emotion? That it is okay to accept mistakes. It is okay to take feedbacks, because we don't take feedback in a very constructive manner. So, first thing, if we are able to do that, then our one point is taken care of, that we are scared of our mistakes. We are scared of accepting our mistakes in public. We don't want to get embarrassed. So, our one negative emotion is taken care of, that it is okay to make mistakes. I won't get embarrassed. Nobody can embarrass me just, by announcing me that I made this particular mistake. So, that's one step that you need to take. Second step that you need to take is moving on after making a mistake. Our mistakes, we are so fearful of our mistakes. We are so scared of our mistakes that, if when we do one, we don't want to meet those people. We don't want to go to that situation. We don't want to go to that place. Oh, there, I feel so embarrassed there because I made that mistake. So if I'm able to move on, that means I have accepted myself. That means my mental health is very well taken care of, because that mistake was yesterday. Today, I'm a better version because I have my learnings from that mistake. And my learnings make me smarter. I embrace my learning, I embrace my mistakes. So that ways, my negative emotion is not here. It's out there in my behavior. I'm becoming a better version. Next is being able to say no when you need to. It's such a pressure, from the society about, multiple things, that we end up saying yes, but we actually want to say no. How many of you feel this, that, you want to say no to a particular thing, but you actually end up saying yes? Do you also feel this is a common problem that we face these days, that we want to say no, but we end up saying yes? If you feel this is a problem, just type yes in the chat window. And if you feel no, this is not a problem with you, then just type no in the chat window. Do you face this problem of not being able to say no when you actually want to say no? Do you feel this? Do you think this is a problem? Not being able to? Yes. Okay. Sometimes. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. Next is not being able to share your feelings with others. It is so important to share what we are really feeling, because when we share, then we are able to express ourselves, and it is out of our system. Otherwise, it's here. We feel so, we feel so stressed about that particular emotion. That emotion is bottled up here, and we are like, we don't know what to do, we don't know how to express ourselves. But if we are able to share our feelings, then by sharing, if we share our joy, it gets multiplied. If we share our sorrows, it becomes half. So it is very important to share our feelings and joy with others, so that these will make your mental health will get improved. And then being able to solve problems in ways that work for everyone. At times, whenever I'm having a conflict, then what happens is that I want things my way. If this is particular thing that where our opinions are not getting matched, I want this to be done like this, but that way perhaps the other person is not getting what that person wants. So if I have high EQ, then I'm able to solve a particular situation where you win, I win, where we win together. It's not that I win, you lose. There is a situation where both of us can win. Maybe partially you can win, maybe partially I can win. It's not that I have to win completely and you have to lose. So when you have high EQ, you are able to find out situations and solutions where the other person also wins and you also wins, and there's a win-win situation, not a win-lose situation. And then is that you're able to have great listening skills. We all want to talk, like I am talking, you must be thinking this, she's talking so much and she's not taking our opinion on it. But because that's what the task that Ekta has assigned me today, so that's why I'm talking and you're listening. But in a day-to-day conversation, we talk and more and we listen less. And when we listen more, then we make the other person happy, we make the other person feel heard. That okay, fine, someone has heard me, and I'm feeling so happy that my emotions, my talks, my that particular thing was validated now because this person has heard me. So it makes, if you're a great listener, then again your mental health is taken care of because you're able to practice patience. And then knowing why you do the things that you do, you have to see why you are doing a particular thing. If you come to this particular session, then you should know that why, what am I gaining out of it, what is it that I'm learning from it. That's very important. If I don't know my why, I will not be able to continue it for long. If I know my why, that this is why I'm here for, this is what I'm going to gain out of it, this is what I'm going to gain, and this is what I'm going to do with this. If your why is rock solid, you do it, because that why comes from self awareness. So that again improves your mental health. And that next is not being judgmental of others. Being judgmental is a basic nature. We just throw judgment like this. Oh, this person is that. Oh, this person is shrewd. Oh, this person is that. And that somehow gives us that feel good factor. But believe me, if we are judgmental of others, that means we have low EQ. We're not able to understand and value others' emotions. So all these pointers, if you do, then you will be able to improve your EQ and take care of your mental health. Now, again, I just share a real life case study here with you. There's this girl, Anisha, and she had a dilemma that, she's a project manager in a company. And what happened is that she is known for her calm demeanor and ability to handle stressful situations with grace. Now, one morning, she received an urgent email from a major client, and the client was unhappy with recent project deliverables. Now, that client's mail was critical. The client was also very important for the company. And the email said that the work was inferior quality and he expected immediate improvements, or he will consider taking his business elsewhere. Now, this is an important thing. If the business goes elsewhere, then she's responsible because she's leading the team. So now, what does she do? She has multiple options. First thing is that she will get angry at the person and she will just reply an angry email that, hey, how come you're talking like this? We did such a good job. We made the best presentation. We gave the best goods. Everything was done very well from our end. It's you, perhaps at your end, there is some error. You need to check at your end. Perhaps she could do this. Second, She could, shout at her team, what did you do? The client is so upset and you're not able to hold the business and it's all your fault and I have to, you know, go through all these things all because of you. She can just do that with her team. Or what is the other thing that she can do? I just want, a one line thing that you think, one line response from all of you think that she can do is a real life situation here. What will an highly emotional, intelligent person do? If I can have an answer here. If anybody would like to say, what should she do? She has now this email. What should she do? Can anybody tell me? What should she do now? She should blame her team. She should blame the client. Okay, let me see what's the new message. All right. Try to assess the situation, balance the impact. Okay, no. All right. All right, brilliant. Thank you for your answer. Thank you for your answer, Hama. Thank you. So now what this girl did was she was really upset as soon as she read the mail. So she just sat up, got up from her table, tried to balance it. So she got up from her table. Thank you so much for your answers, Priyanka. So she got up from her table. She just went out and she had a coffee in the pantry. And then she came back. She reread the mail. She thought that, okay, fine, whatever the client is trying to say makes sense. And perhaps there are certain errors that we need to address. It's okay to accept mistake. So she wrote an email that perhaps there is an error which has occurred from our end, and let's see what best we can make to improve it. But do you also think that there could be a possibility of things going wrong at your end? So could you also please check? I'll also do the needful from my end, and then let's reassess it and let's do this meeting on this particular date at this particular place. I would like to retain the business. I would like to have you a long-term relationship with you. So there's a wonderful email she wrote to him, and she tried to see that what is her fault, what could possibly be wrong there, accepting her fault, and also saying yes that okay, there is a possibility that 1% bleak possibility that there's something wrong there. If you could check that, I'll check mine, and then let's meet and let's reassess and talk on it. So I think that's a beautiful reply. And that's very important in a life also. If we are wrong, let's accept that. Let's gauge ourselves. And if there's a possibility that other person is wrong, we should not, feel embarrassed to point out and to just very politely say, if you could consider this, do you think this is a possibility? Then that means we are not, putting ourselves down all the time. We're just putting our opinion very clean, straight, and heard that, okay, fine, there is perhaps it is like this. So that shows balanced emotions. And then next is that, so this was a real life study. And then now, how do we do it? Emotions are quickly, we have very less time left. Quickly, emotional intelligence, three things that we need to understand. First is perceiving emotion. If there is, what is it that I'm feeling right now? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I angry? Am I envy? Am I, feeling lonely? What is it that I'm feeling right now? First is whatever you're perceiving, just accept that emotion, that I'm going through this emotion. Let me just not feel something else and tell myself something else. You are perceiving that emotion. Then the second thing is understanding. Okay, I'm feeling angry because so and so person. First is perceiving the emotion, second is understanding the emotion, that okay, I am feeling angry because this behavior has happened. I am feeling angry because my child did not listen to me. I am feeling angry because I did not meet my target. So this is understanding the emotion. Okay, you are feeling this emotion because of this particular reason. Now, this particular reason is not in my hand, but my emotion is in my hand. So I can't change this event. Because of this, I'm feeling this particular emotion. Of an event, you went through this emotion, you understood the emotion, that this emotion is because of this particular thing. This particular thing I have no control on, but on this emotion, this response, I do have a control. So I will control, not control, I will manage this. I will, third is manage my emotion. Now I am feeling angry, I'll manage my emotion now. If I'm angry, what is it that I can do? I can drink a glass of water, I can practice deep breathing, I can do some meditation, I can, I can just give myself some answer that, okay, fine, I'll fix the situation like this. What is the antidote? What is it that I can give myself for this problem, for this issue, for this challenge that has come to me that I'm feeling angry. So I have to address that. That's very important. First is perceiving, second is that I have to understand, and third is I have to manage my emotion. So these three things you will have to do in your daily life. First is perceive, emotion we all do, understand, some of us do, manage our emotion, very few of us do. So these are the three stages of handling our emotion: perceiving, understanding, and third is managing the emotion. And then, we have to see the people around us also. If they have high EQ, we should be around them because they will help us become also have high EQ, because you are what your company is. You always get influenced by your company. So you have to see who are the people with high EQ. These are the signs of people with high EQ. High EQ. First is they strive for improvement. Second is they have the power of pause. They take pause, they speak very slowly, and they understand, they listen, and then only they talk. Third is they have they're very careful with their emotional labeling. They won't call you an idiot just like that, like a lot of people with less EQ will. They will just call you idiot like that. They will give you names like that. But people with high EQ will be very careful of their emotional labeling. Next is their transformational leadership they have. Like, we have so many leaders here in our country who are transformational. Transformational leadership is they don't themselves transform. They help the other people also become transformed. So that's transformational leadership. Only high IQ people have this transformational leadership. Then is they accept feedback. Okay, fine. This is what I did wrong. I accept it. This is my fault. I accept my feedback in a very positive manner. Next is careful commitment. Like, they'll be very careful. They will say no, even if, it kind of hits you in the beginning, but it is better to say no today than to not do it later. So they're very careful with their commitments. They don't make false promises. How can you improve your EQ? Quickly, I'll say this. And it make what difference will it make if you become highly intelligent? It'll help you to make better decisions. It'll help you deal with interpersonal relationships. It'll help you to understand yourself better. And imagine that, if you have a high EQ boss, if you have a high EQ spouse, if you have a high EQ friend, if you have a high EQ employee, if you have a high EQ world, then I think all of us will become transformed. If we all increase our EQ, how would we approach our differences? We'll be able to handle our stress better. How will we, approach our differences? If I don't get along or what you think, then what difference will it make? So all these things, how will you discuss topics like mental health if we are EQ, if we have, how will we approach the conflict? So all these issues will get resolved if we have high EQ. So that was, emotional intelligence. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer. You can just start, writing your questions here in the chat window.
So before we move to Q&A session, I will like to launch one feedback poll wherein we can just have like you can just participate in the feedback poll which is live on your portal. So feedback poll is live on your screen. You can just participate in by answering just 5 questions. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can put it in a chat box or under the Q&A session so that we can take it one by one. And anyone from the audience wants to talk to Anamika, they can raise their hand. We can move to the panel, and you can have a short discussion with her as well. So do not miss this opportunity. If you have any questions and you want any personal assistance in guiding your questions, you can just raise your hand, and we will allow you to speak to Anamika as well. So, Anamika, we have one question under the chat box like, while sharing feelings, I have a fear of people taking an advantage, probably try to come close or to manipulate.
Okay, so the question is, I have a fear of people taking advantage, probably try to come. Okay, fine. See, again, we are all evolved human beings. I will not share my very delicate, sensitive feelings to people who don't like me. who are not my well wishers. I will choose the people whom I want to share my things with. That's extremely important. So if you share with your feelings with your loved ones, then if they love you, they will definitely understand your feelings. And there's one trick, why we should, how we should share our feelings. And there's a common thing, mistake that we all do. What we all do is that, when we want to share something, we start in the language of blame. You did this, you did that, you did not do this, you did not do that. The other person feels that, yeah, there's so many complaints for me, so I'm not going to address to it, and I'm going to shut this conversation. If we love others and we have certain feelings, we should express it like this. See, this happened, not you did this. We should talk it like this happened, and this made me feel this was the incident, and this was the consequence in my heart, that this is how I felt. So you're not blaming others. You're not telling others that you did wrong to me, you were rude to me, you were bad to me, you did that. There's no blame. So what you do is you talk about the incident. This happened and this made me feel like this. Then that's a better way of putting it, and the other person would understand and would address your feelings. I hope I was able to answer your question. Also, Ekta, I have also shared a feedback, because if there's anybody would like to, share their opinion, some feedback, because I consider feedbacks are very important. They are the building blocks. They help us become the better version of ourselves. So if any, it's optional. If any one of you would like to fill it, brilliant. You don't want to fill it, your call. I don't want to pressurize you. But this link is in the chat box. You can just fill the form and submit it. And I would love to address, emotions are very important. Please don't put them under the carpet. If there's anything about emotion that you want to talk, this is the right panel. This is the right window. Please come and talk about it. How to say no without hurting the other person, or maybe not ponder too much over how the other person will feel for taking up. Brilliant question. I really wanted this question to come up, because that's why I asked also if you feel this. This is such a common problem, that we are not able to say no. We say yes, and then we don't do that particular thing, then that relationship suffers. Or even if we do that particular thing which we don't want to do, then we suffer. What is good? That we able to take that pride in saying no, or we just make ourselves suffer, or let the other person suffer by doing no later. So it's important that take pride in saying no as much as you take pride in saying yes. You have to make it normal to say no. Can you come to a birthday party? I would love to, but these are my engagements. Can you do this for me? I would have loved to, but I have this thing on my plate, so I cannot. So, you can always give right answers. You can always tell the reasons if you want to. You can always address it very politely. Rather than a straight no, you can just address it in an indirect manner. Because if you save yourself, if you don't put oxygen mask on your nose, then how will you help others breathe? If you want others to breathe, first of all, you should have oxygen. And for that, you need to respect yourself. You need to love yourself, because when you are saying yes to them, then you are saying no to yourself. And self love comes first. You love yourself so that others love you. You respect yourself so that others respect you. Loving and respecting yourself is equally important. Swami, I hope that helps. All right, Hamad has asked another one. Also, I tend to avoid conflicts. How can I improve this area? See, conflicts, why do we need to avoid conflicts? It's okay. It's absolutely normal to have conflicts. In fact, it is better to have conflicts, because if I have a conflict with you, that means I am expressing myself in a very honest and clear, transparent way. If I hide my feelings, then there is no conflict. You ask me to do something, I may not want to do something, and I'll just say something else, and then there's no conflict. Conflict arises whenever people are transparent, whenever people are open to communication, then there is conflict. The thing is that you address the conflict. Is the conflict because of a simple opinion, perspective, or is it like, the person is different, the entire things are different? We need to address conflicts and respect each other's point of view. I may like pizza, you may like pasta. There's a conflict. So whenever we go to a restaurant, maybe we can order both. in smaller quantities. So we have to address the conflict. Conflict management is important rather than avoiding conflict.
So there is one more question under the Q&A, like how
Mhm.
to say harsh truth to others without hurting them. I guess this is the same as saying no
Saying no.
to.
See, it is important. You have to judge that is that truth important. Sometimes what happens is maybe, I'm not looking good in this green shirt. And the harsh truth is, in your perspective, I'm not looking good. And if you say, I have to say harsh truth, and you'll say, Namika, you're looking pathetic in this dress. Please, this harsh truth was better not said then. So we have to be very wise in choosing what we have to say. Are we hurting others by saying this, or is it important? That's, saying yes sometimes and saying no sometimes is important, because you're in the class and you understand the child is performing bad because the child has become very naughty and doing all sorts of notorious activities. You don't need to speak such harsh truth to the parent like that. Maybe you can use an indirect manner of that. Maybe you can just suggest the other person that maybe you should sit and talk to your child. What keeps him busy, what keeps him occupied, how is his school going on, who are his friends. So maybe you can say things indirectly if those harsh truths are important. If those harsh truths are not important, then they can be chosen not to be said. Okay, how to face someone who always questions your suggestions or work and makes you question yourself. This is very important. In when we are handling our emotions, first emotion that comes to us most of the times, and we battle with it so much, that is self-doubt. Self-doubt, we are so much in self-doubt that we kind of believe in others and we don't believe in ourselves. So if someone is suggesting something, if it is affecting your confidence, then you need to first of all address your confidence. First of all, that whatever I am suggesting, whatever I am putting out in the universe, I am confident about it. I am very clear in my head. That's why I said in one of the pointer, you should know your why. That's very important. If you're doing this workshop, then you should know, what am I gaining out of it? If my friend tells me, oh, you're wasting your Friday evening, we could have sat in a cafe and we could have played a video game, or we could have watched a movie. What are you doing? What is this emotional intelligence? It doesn't need to be, invested an hour in this. So you question, oh, maybe I could have spent this time in shopping. Then that means your why wasn't clear. If your why is clear, I'm working on myself, I'm trying to become a better version of myself that I was yesterday. So it's totally worth it. So you will immediately shut the other suggestion down. Oh my God, I know it was important. You mind your business, I'll mind mine. Like that. So if you are sure of your why, then other suggestions and others' questions you are able to address well. If you are not sure of your why, then other suggestions, others' question will make you question yourself. So set your why rock solid. I am doing this because this. I have done this because this. I am confident of my presentation. I am sure of this. And if you're not sure, then say, I have done this, but I need a second opinion on this. So that way you're open like that. I hope I was able to answer that, Swami.
There is one more question under the Q&A. So we will take this last question. So here, do you have any advice on repairing relationships when you have done something very wrong and it makes you feel both angry at the other person and yourself?
You have done something wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Thank you. I think we have to understand one thing, which is that our relationships are important. We can't run away from them if those relationships are important. If certain relationships, if they are dead, if the other person is not responding to us, if the other person is not taking care of our feelings, that's a different matter. If we have feelings, the other person has feelings for us, or if it's a blood relationship, or if it is any relationship that you are born with, and it has come with you as a package, and you will have to live with it, but you have done something like you said and you're not able to go back, then I think it is always better, and I've spoken about it in the presentation also, that accepting mistakes, accepting flaws, and embracing your flaws is the first sign of being of practicing high EQ, that it is okay to mistakes. Who is it that doesn't make mistake? You see nature. Are in a plant, are all the apples of same size? Are all the flowers of the similar color pattern? Are all the leaves same? There are difference. You will see, all of us are different. Our fingerprints are different. God has made us all, but each of us have a unique fingerprint. So people are different. People make mistakes. So can you, because you are also the part of this creation. You are not some superhuman being who cannot make mistakes. However, the wrong part is when you don't accept your mistakes. Before accepting your mistake in public, you have to acknowledge it here in your heart, reflect it here. Okay, this is what happened. This is where I was wrong, and this is where I could have behaved differently. This is where the other person's response was wrong. So you analyze it in a very, very calm manner, and you represent your case, your point very well. This is very, very important that we understand what happened and we are able to express it and tell ourselves, others also, what went and what should have happened. I'll just say a very beautiful thing here, which I wanted to end with, but then I forgot, and then immediately I got reminded with your question that, it's very beautiful thing about emotions. Your anger is valid. Your yelling is not. Your self-doubt is valid. Not moving ahead is not. Your envy is valid. Your judgment is not. Your love is valid. Your possessiveness is not. Your emotions are valid, but your reactions are not. I hope that answered your question.
So there are no more questions. And thank you, Anamika, for sharing us such a wonderful insights today.
Thank you so much, Ekta. I really had great time talking to all of you, and it was really wonderful. Although there were certain technical glitches, but I think it all went well, and I could feel the energy and the vibration that everybody is absorbed in emotions, understanding emotions, and try to digest their own emotions. And I hope I was able to do justice to the topic. Thank
And
you so
thank
much for
you.
giving us.
Yeah, and I would like to thank you everyone for sparing an hour for us and joining us for this particular session. And a special thank you for our incredible coach on behalf of everyone. So, Anamika, we have truly loved your expertise and thank you for guiding us towards the self realization. And your wisdom has truly inspired us all. So, and I will request all the audience to just practice whatever technical, practical tips that she has shared so that we can keep learning and keep growing and we can be more uh, we can improve our emotional intelligence as well. So remember, this journey will be always keep going and we will keep learning a different things. So on behalf of Ethica Insurance Broking, I will thank you again everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to see you at our upcoming webinars that we schedule on every Friday. So have a wonderful evening. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day
everyone.
ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ekta. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.